What's your blood alcohol content?
How did you get camo Jordans?
They make them. Is it not a word? Dude, it is too a word. You harken back.
You harking back.
No, you
right?
do not. I was useless.
Wait, hold on. Delonica?
I'm hurting, man.
Are you puking? Did you just bust out a Sargento?
We're a Tillamook family.
What's the proper technique to milk the teat? If they are competing for state championships, they ain't paying for their blizzards. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Marty Smith podcast here at Outsider. It is Valentine's Day, and I am here with my Valentine, the great Wesley Blankenship. Good morning, Senator. How we doing?
Good morning, Governor. I'm doing great. How's Valentine's going?
Valentine's is going great. I got my little girls to school, and we discussed Valentine's Day on the way there. Of course, what they care about is the fact that there are treats in the house that they can consume. Yeah. Valentine's Day is a very interesting holiday in the Smith home. Lainey and I acknowledge one another for Valentine's Day, but we don't make like a massive, we have to go out to dinner, we have to buy each other a bunch of gifts, get the flowers, get the chocolates holiday. Because we're kind of the mind that we want every day to be that day. Now, we acknowledge it. We tell each other, I love you an extra time or something. But we don't go out of our way anymore. We used to when we were a younger couple. But we realize today that not only – so what I am so grateful for, I'm grateful for countless things in my marriage, but one of the things that I'm grateful for in my marriage is that not only do we love each other, we really like each other. Like we are like best friends too. And
yeah, I mean the best compliment my wife or myself can ever give one another is to say I like you, because you know a lot of days it's harder to say that than others, but when you do say it, it just means a lot more.
It really matters. And we know how grateful we are. We know a lot of people who don't have that, and a lot of people who have not been blessed with that. And one reason that we have it is her willingness to be malleable in the relationship.
Malleable.
Yeah, like
that is the word of the episode.
She's been willing to grow with me, transform with me, evolve with me, because you know this, Wes, when someone, male or female, is married to a spouse who is in the public eye, they have to be a very selfless person. And she has allowed me to grow and evolve and manage my ego and manage the way that I've had to operate. I haven't had to. I have.
What is that dynamic been like for y'all? Because this industry is tough.
It is tough
to make that last and make it thrive.
And it only gets tougher. Like with opportunity, what is the thing that you sacrifice most with opportunity? Time. And time is our most valuable and precious resource. You cannot manufacture it, you cannot corral it, and you sure as hell can't get it back. And so she is such a blessing, because when I was a younger husband, I mean, Lainey and I got married at 24 and 23. We're about to celebrate our 22nd wedding anniversary. And she's had to put up with a lot of bullshit with me. And she's done it, and she's taken when she has to talk me through something, she's graceful in doing that. Like, look, you're a knucklehead. We have to change this. And
so y'all,
that's not every day, man. All right, everybody doesn't have that. And I know what a blessing it is for me.
Yeah, I mean, really, you know what it takes. I mean, I'm not at 22 years, but you have to talk in a way that is, I'm going to use a Marty Smith word here, fearless and honest. And if you can't have that, then you can't give each other the Valentine's card that says, I like you.
That's right. I love it. Very well said. And communication is so vital. And again, I was not great at that. I'm an internalizer. I was not a great communicator early on. And she helped me learn the value of that. I'm still learning the value of that. So anyway, all of that to say, happy Valentine's Day, y'all. And check this out, Wes. This is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow Travis's mind. This is going to blow Caroline's mind. This just showed up at my front door from my great partners with Smithfield Foods. As a lot of y'all know who are college football fans, every single year at the national championship, Kirk Herbstreit, the face and voice of college football, and myself, we both have personal service agreements with the Smithfield Foods Company through their Eckrich brand, and we both throw for $1 million. For extra yard for teachers, we throw 5 footballs, 15 yards into a hole that's barely bigger than the football. For the
is it like the Dr. Pepper halftime challenge?
This is so far greater than the Dr. Pepper halftime challenge. This one
Explain to me how.
Benefits the teachers, bro. The educators that are formulating the minds of our youth.
What is your form? What's your technique?
Oh, I let it rip, dude. I mean, Kirk's a former quarterback, right? So he's ripping. And I'm like,
so neither one of you guys are doing the chest pass.
No, it's too far away, dude. You can't throw a chest pass 15 yards. LeBron James couldn't throw a chest pass 15 yards. So I let it rip, man. I actually made it this year. Okay. I completely lost my composure, and I ran out of time to throw my last ball because I ran out of composure. But anyway, check this out. My great friends at Smithfield just sent me a dozen bacon roses.
Hell yeah.
A bacon rose bouquet. They sent it to my house, and my little puppy Sadie, as you might imagine, is seated right at my feet because she smells the bacon roses.
That tail is just putting a hole in the floor.
You don't even know. She's slobbering all over the ground. They sent me a little happy Valentine's Day card. My great friends at Smithfield, thank you so much.
So what do you do with that now?
Eat it.
How do you consume that?
Look, man.
And here's my question. How was it transported?
It was transported. Okay, that's a great question, Wesley. A lady with Tennessee license plates.
I couldn't have done this conversation last week, by the way. I was drinking my breakfast.
Yeah, I don't actually feel awesome today, but the bacon is helping a little bit. Maybe it's just that I'm hungry. But a lady drove her Infiniti SUV into my driveway with her Tennessee license plates. She emerged from her Infiniti SUV with Tennessee license plates looking like $1 trillion. She had on a pearl necklace. She had on like a red top. She had on some Jackie O shades. And she walked up to my front door, rang the doorbell, and presented me the bacon bouquet by hand.
Well,
and then she asked me
tremendous.
to take a picture with it. I don't know. I guess that was her way of proving that I actually
just
received
want to confirm. Yeah. That's wild, man. I would just wonder, though, where was the bacon cooked? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but where was it cooked? How long has it been just kind of sitting out? Who made the flowers? I mean,
I think it's very fair analysis, but you might be overthinking that. You are overthinking that a little bit. I'm of the mind that bacon is the universal food. Bacon,
unless you're a pig.
Not only is it universally adored, it's also extremely versatile. You can wrap your meatloaf in it. You can wrap
Shrimps.
You can wrap fruit balls in it. What did you just say?
Shrimps.
Oh yeah, you can wrap shrimp. You can wrap everything in it, man.
Vegetables.
And all it does is enhance the culinary experience of whatever it is that you're making. What did you make on the grill for your Super Bowl extravaganza?
I didn't make anything. Kind of slacked off this time around. We had a busy weekend, friends coming in, and we just picked up a pizza and some wings and some soda pops.
Can't go wrong.
That was more than enough. So
if you're picking up pizza and soda pop, are you getting a local mom and pop pizza? Are you going Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut? Where are we?
There's a local spot called Automatic Pizza
in
Athens, down Prince, in a little sector called Normal Town, and It's our go-to. It's
What
delicious.
What makes Normal Town Normal Town? Why is it so named?
It's ironically not normal at all. It is the weirdest part of Athens, with the biggest towny population, a lot of hipsters, artsy kind of people. It's funky, but
Athens is a really unique place. Super
it is.
cool, super authentic. Definitely has the weird factor. Let's get weird. Let's own our weird. And of course, Normal Town is the weirdest sector of the town.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go there next time I'm down in Athens.
go to Automatic Pizza, and it looks like a Norman Rockwell painting. It's on the corner of this strip, and it has an old gas pump out front. It's an old gas station, where like the numbers were like physical numbers that would flip and change, and roll. And it's a great little spot.
Dude, I love that so much. Having grown up in rural America, in a time where the mega stores are taking over and authentic small town family owned businesses, so many people want to support those. I'm one of them. And I think most of us at Outsider, if not all of us at Outsider, that's one of the things that we love so much is championing those roots. And there's a guy here in Charlotte. His name is Jim Noble. He owns Noble Smoke, which is one of the premier barbecue. You can't even call Noble Smoke a barbecue joint. It's a barbecue restaurant. I mean, this insane brisket. Mr. Noble claims it's the best brisket, east of the Mississippi.
Okay.
He says that. It is delectable. And he also, so when he was building Noble Smoke, there was, to your point, there was a gas station right on the corner. It was a rundown gas station in an area of Charlotte just down the street. I mean, a quarter mile down the street from Bank of America Stadium where the Panthers play. Mm-hmm. Right down the street was a part of Charlotte that needed upgrading. And, man, has it been upgraded. And a big part of that is Noble Smoke and Bossy Beulah's is it's a fried chicken sandwich restaurant. That's what it is. And I went down there. I did a thing with Duke's Mayo a couple years ago. Went and sat with Mr. Noble, tried the boss. That's what the sandwich is called. And then Duke's Mayo sponsors the Duke's Mayo Bowl here at Bank of America Stadium. We all saw Shane Beamer, my buddy at South Carolina, get doused with mayo after they beat North Carolina in the bowl this year.
I think it's still stuck in his hair.
Well, I just was with him on Tuesday night. We hung out on Tuesday night, and his little boy, Hunter, I said, "How did your daddy smell after that mayo bath?" And he went, "Blah." He, shivered. But in the Duke's Mayo Bowl last year, it was Wake Forest and Wisconsin, and live on the air, I took a bite of the sandwich. And I involuntarily blurted out on TV, "That tastes like the South on a bun." Mr. Noble has now taken that
there
quote.
You go.
It is there. It is. It hangs not only in the restaurant but outside the restaurant. He did this big signage poster board. He did call me for. His staff called me for. What's the word? Clearance.
Copyright.
Whatever. They called me for permission, I guess is the right word. And I said, "Of course, man. Anytime."
I'm surprised no one has used that already. That's brilliant.
I mean, it really does. It's the most delicious sandwich. If y'all are in Charlotte, again, it's right there near Bank of America Stadium, Bossy Beulah's.
Beulah's.
Yeah, man, go try that sandwich. It's off the hook. And like Wes said, it's cool the way they did it. The garage doors of the gas station are still there. Mm-hmm. They refurbished the whole place. You can, in the summertime, they raise the garage doors. You sit out there on the veranda, drink cold beer, hang out, eat the chicken sandwich. It's an amazing time.
So what did you do for the Super Bowl? What's your pit boss spot?
My pit boss spot is right over there. I pulled out the KC combo. Again, a lot of y'all know that I have a relationship with Pit Boss Grills and the Danson's Company, and it's amazing. an amazing relationship with those guys.
What'd you cook?
And I made sliders. I made Super Bowl sliders. I got 2 pounds of ground beef, 80-20. I made 12 sliders. I used Hawaiian rolls, which are the bomb.com for your sliders. And one thing I love to do with my sliders before I put them on the Pit Boss is I like to open them up, put a little goat cheese in there, and lather them up with Worcestershire sauce.
What?
Yeah. It's the truth, man. They were really good. Everybody loved them. And then I might have eaten a couple too many. Might be why my belly's upset today. I'm not like I'm not a huge red meat guy. I grew up on a cattle farm. I don't eat a whole lot of red meat anymore, but I allow myself one day a year to plow burgers on the Pit Boss. And that's July 4th.
Like your own eating contest. Like you become Chestnut for a day.
I channel my inner Joey Chestnut. But I decided to do sliders this year for the Super Bowl because I saw this recipe that I was like, man, my mouth's watering. I'm doing sliders. And so paying for it a little bit today. But so I have a buddy, Joe Kermser, who used to be my neighbor many moons ago over here in Burkdale in North Charlotte in Huntersville. And he's a Traeger guy. He's been a Traeger guy his whole life. He wants a Pit Boss now. He saw me using my Pit Boss, and he texted me last night. He's like, dude, I'm seriously considering making the switch. So I'm going to call Joe and just talk him through it because he should make the switch. It's the best smoker there is. And I love that thing. It's funny when you smoke meat, like you turn into such a nerd about it, right?
You do. I have buddies that use Traegers. I prefer the big green egg. I'm somewhat of a pyromaniac.
You're an egg guy.
So I like to start the fire and feel like that primitive kind of standing over the flame kind of feeling.
I respect that.
I made a buffalo chicken dip a few weeks ago on the egg, and it's easy. I mean, I just rip up the rotisserie chicken and put all the ingredients into the Dutch oven, cast iron, and then just kind of let the smoke sit on it for about 30, 45 minutes. It just adds something different to it. And one of my buddies has a Traeger. He's like, how did you do that? And I told him, but I kind of explained it. It's probably, I know the pellets do their own thing, but I just can't imagine it is the same kind of flavor. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Well, yeah, and the thing about the Pit Boss, of course, it has the burner pot that it has an auger that sends the pellets into the burner pot, and there's a slide on the side of it as well that allows you to open up these grates that let the flame go straight into the meat if you so choose. You can also close it if you want a more even cooking surface. But what I love too about the KC combo is it's a two-part grill. There's the pellet burner side, and then there's also a gas side that has a griddle, so you can go out there and make breakfast. You can, your bacon, your pancakes, your sausage, whatever you want to do, eggs, right there on the griddle. Really cool unit, amazing quality. I love that thing, and we use it all the time.
Speaking of units and amazing quality, how about my guy, Matty Staff?
I'm just going to give you the floor. Amazing performance. I'll say this statement, and then I will give you the floor. He just got his gold jacket.
All right, that's what I want to get to. I don't want to start off with his legacy. I think we're so quick to want to define guys' legacies while they're still playing, just because of the hot take culture that we're in. So we'll get to that in a moment. I want to give Joe Burrow his due, looking like the Hamburglar 2.0, walking into the stadium, and he almost stole that win on what could be a torn ACL, man. I mean, I don't know.
I'm knocking every wood trimming I have in my bar. I'm knocking on right now.
I hope he's all right.
Me too. That grimace on his face did not look good.
Nah, it looked like Booby Miles. It didn't look good. I texted you and Travis and said that's his good knee too, not good. So great performance from him. Really took Ramsey to the woodshed a couple times. That one bomb looked like there was a little bit of a tug on the face mask.
T got away with one.
But
T. Higgins got away
yeah,
with one.
but they didn't call any penalties. Another thing I want to get to with you and talk about in further detail later on, not this episode, but the people that think the NFL is rigged or that sports are rigged, I think there's a documentary in this of people that think that sports are actually rigged. My grandfather was one of them, still is, and I can't help but just laugh whenever he talks to me about it, but I think there's something there. And people think that this Super Bowl was rigged.
I worked in – I'm sorry to cut you off, brother. My bad.
You're good.
I worked in NASCAR full-time for 15 years, 17 years. So I heard that all the time. Phantom debris cautions. Green, white check. Let's set up the green, white checker finish. Oh, the 2001 Pepsi 400, which to me is the greatest moment in NASCAR history when Dale Jr. came back to Daytona for the first time after his father passed and won that race. I cried like a 5-year-old, man. And we all did. Everybody did. But what did we hear in the aftermath? He had a big motor. I mean, it's just
it's fun.
I think it's natural.
Yeah.
I think it's natural to want to want to be able to understand why it happened the way it happened. And a lot of people felt like my phone blew up last night with those comments from family, from friends, from colleagues, from on and on. Why did they swallow the whistle the whole game and then all of a sudden find it with 2 minutes to go and the Rams in the red zone? I understand why you would feel that way if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan or you have money on it.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you have money, like my brother-in-law, I won't say how much. I will tell you that my brother-in-law, the way the game unfolded, actually the muffed extra point, cost my brother-in-law
that was
dearly.
huge.
I mean, lots and lots and lots of money.
Our guy SVP, bad beat. That's got to be the bad beat of the night, even though it didn't really happen right at the end. I mean, it was a huge factor.
It was a huge factor. I mean, you're talking about, think about Super Bowl squares. All those people that had 4-0 lost a lot of money. And the people that had 3-0 made that money. Fortunately for Laney and me, we were in for hundreds of dollars in like 4 or 5 different Super Bowl squares outfits.
Yeah.
Because it wound up ending 3-0, we won $200 and made a little bit back. If it would have been 4-0,
nothing.
Goose egg.
All right, so all that to say.
Back to Stafford.
All that to say.
Tell me what you think.
The game last night, he had his great moments. I mean, I think it's 34, 35 game-winning comeback drives in his career now, something stupid. All the games in the postseason were comeback drives led by Stafford. Obviously, Cooper Kupp deserves the MVP. I think just did a little bit more. I mean, look, Donald was a beast.
6-1, half dozen.
But 2 touchdowns out of 3 in the game, and the fact that he didn't win the MVP this season. I don't know. I think it may be a little bit of a makeup thing. Who knows? But Stafford on the final drive, 3 minutes to go. There's like a third down. He does a no-look pass to Kupp. He's looking like towards the sidelines, throws it right across the middle of the field.
Remarkable.
Just dumb. And
if it doesn't work, he's being called dumb.
Yeah.
If Sean McVay running a reverse to Cooper Kupp, very intricate ball handling, on 4th and 1 and the rest of your life on the line, if that doesn't work, he's being vilified for it today. But it worked. So he looks like a genius.
Stafford's existence in L.A. was a risk. The trade, getting him out of Detroit was a risk. Von Miller, all the moves they made, OBJ. I mean, it goes on and on. The risks paid off, and they're champs.
They put every chip. They put every chip in the center, West. They put every single chip in, and they needed every one of those chips to win the pot. They needed them all. And OBJ goes down early, and that really affected them, man. It really did. He scores the first touchdown of the game, has that injury, And I hope he's okay. It certainly didn't look good. I've not heard, as we tape this at 10:55 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, on Valentine's Day, I've not yet heard confirmation on what that injury is exactly. But I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
It didn't look good. I saw how John Mechie fell down. I saw how J-Mo Williams fell down. And the way OBJ fell down was not dissimilar.
So all this to say, Stafford in this game, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Stafford throws picks. He's done it his whole career. I don't know if he's ready to be an MVP just yet, or a Hall of Famer, rather. I don't.
Okay, here's my take.
I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just not sold on the fact that this win is like the shoe-in that gets him into Canton.
Matthew Stafford is 5 yards short of 50,000 passing yards. That's good for 12th on the all-time list, just between John Elway and Warren Moon, both of whom are Hall of Famers. Warren Moon was a pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
Warren Moon never won a Super Bowl. Just behind Moon is Fran Tarkenton. He's a Hall of Famer. He played in 3 Super Bowls with the Vikings and never won one. Matthew Stafford is going to continue to escalate up that list. Now, I think he's a couple thousand yards behind. Who was a couple thousand yards behind Elway. So, I think he's got the opportunity to pass John Elway.
I just feel like the immediate assessment, that he's a Hall of Famer because of last night, maybe a little early. Will he get there?
That's fair.
Yeah. I just don't know. You can look at the numbers and everything, and I'm sure he's up there, like you said. And Fran, the only other Georgia guy to throw a Super Bowl touchdown, cool company for Stafford to be in. I just think he has a little bit more work to do. The thing that I don't know how much this matters, but he's never been an All-Pro, and I know there are a lot of factors that go into that. His career in Detroit was left a lot to be desired, but I don't know. It's just things like that make me wonder if he doesn't need to do a little bit more.
Look, I think it is, Travis. We're just going to go until Ashley jumps on. I am all in on the debate, but we're a numbers world. There are so many. I think the world championship is the kicker. If Matthew Stafford had stayed in Detroit and thrown for 75,000 yards, I don't think he has the leverage that he now has.
Oh, he has all the leverage. Yeah,
he was brought to Los Angeles, California, for one reason. That's to get them over the top. And he, along with the other gentlemen that you mentioned, Odell Beckham, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, they all came there for that one reason, and they did it. Congratulations. Now, before we move on to the NFL Man of the Year, I just want to discuss commercials quickly. All right? I think overall, I tried to watch his. I went over to my neighbor Dave's house. He had a big Super Bowl party. Went over there and had a little bit of John Daniels brown water. Watched the second quarter before I had to come home, and Lanester and I had to get the girls in bed. Today's a school day.
You don't get Valentine's Day off.
Got to get them. Those little brains. Got to get rest. Got to have rest. We went down. We tried hard to pay attention to most of the commercials. I think 30% of them were good. What do you think? 30?
I'm in the same boat. We had
maybe?
a couple friends over, and we were talking most of the night and didn't really have the volume turned up too loud. The Sopranos one made us all stop talking, though. I don't know if you watched The Sopranos or not. I can't remember, other than the Clydesdales, I can't remember a commercial that made my eyes a little wet since that one.
So here are the 4 that really stood out to me. The 4 that stood out to me. The first one was that weird-ass bouncing square
Crypto,
that bounced all over the screen
Coinbase.
for a minute and a half. I don't even know what. I still don't know what it was. I want to know how many of y'all listening ran up to the TV and
I didn't do it,
scanned
Marty,
the code.
because I didn't know if we were being hacked.
I didn't
know if someone was dropping in and just trying to fool us. And I'm very skeptical of all this digital QR code stuff. So I
thought
I
my
stayed
TV
out of
was
it.
broke.
I'm just going to tell you.
Me too. If you did, write us on the review line. Go. I always want to say subscribe, rate, and review because that's what ESPN.
Now
always
it's
had me say.
follow.
It is rate, review, and follow. Do that. Go do that. It matters to us. It matters to everybody that supports us. Please. Analytics. And you guys have been amazing. We have hundreds of reviews already, and I think we're a 4.9 rating.
Who didn't give us the 5?
So we're full of gratitude for that. We're full of gratitude for that. And so please do it. And leave us a comment. Travis goes through those things constantly. He shares with us some of the reviews that we would love, like this one right here from R. Hauser. I love the show. I listen every week. Man, the show with Inky was amazing. I didn't know his story. He's very inspirational. I needed that message in my life. Thank y'all and keep up the great work. We appreciate that. R. Hauser. I don't know if it's Randy Hauser, but we're going to pretend
Cole
like
Hauser.
it's Randy Hauser. We need to have Randy on the show at some point. But you're right. Inky was it's amazing the impact that man is having. And I imagine had he been, made his way to the NFL with that spirit and that soul, he probably would have been in contention for NFL Man of the Year too. So I'm with you on the Meadow Soprano Chevy Silverado commercial. And I texted Travis last night. I said, man, I really like that commercial, but, I have a Ram truck. I have a Ram commercials. I represent Ram. So I chose against lauding it on social media, but I'll tell you, it was very well devised.
Business
it was very
decision.
well done and captivating. I mean, I stopped what I was doing and paid attention to it because you talk about iconic show openings.
Oh, my gosh.
That Sopranos show opening is among the most iconic ever.
And Tony, not in the intro of the show, but Tony drove that Suburban or Tahoe or whatever it was. And that was a badass ride that Tony had every episode.
And
Great
that song,
commercial.
song, woke up this morning, and it's just the whole thing, the way they show North Jersey, going over the bridge, Manhattan, the whole thing is just so gnarly. It's just so gnarly, and I felt like that thing was deftly executed. I thought it was super cool. Congratulations. That one cut through. Another one that indisputably cut through was Michelob Ultra when they're in the bowling alley and my boy Brooks Koepka's playing pool and Peyton Manning's in there and Alex Morgan's in there and
Steve
Jimmy
Buscemi.
Butler's in there. He's like on the karaoke machine doing his thing.
Yep.
And Steve Buscemi is handing out the stank bowling shoes and spraying the antiseptic spray in there and the whole nine. And you're trying to figure out where this is going. You know it's going to be awesome, but you can't figure out exactly where it's going. And then GOAT walks in, Serena Williams, with a full-blown diva strut.
That was
And
powerful.
it was powerful, and it was all so well done. Congratulations, Michelob Ultra. And then the one you mentioned a few moments ago, Budweiser always delivers.
Yeah.
Bud Heavy never doesn't deliver, always delivers, and that thing was as outsider as it gets.
So that team, regardless of what they're doing, I remember the spot they had a few years ago, which was big in our Georgia newsroom because they filmed it in Cartersville about the relief efforts to can water. And it's always unexpected, but the storytelling behind it, I mean, you could turn that thing into its own documentary most of the time, the way that they weave a story into that ad, and they always crush it.
Unity. I just loved everything about that spot. They always deliver. Their marketing group, whoever their outside agency or agencies are that devise these spots, brilliance. It was a simple yet powerful message, and just right bullseye right on time. So those are the four that really stood out to me: Weird Bouncing Square, Mick Ultra, Serena Williams, Meadow Soprano, Silverado, and Budweiser Saves the Day. I loved them. And so kudos to all those guys. Another thing I want to touch on here as we transition our way to our interview with Justin Simmons, who was the NFL Man of the Year nominee for the Denver Broncos. Justin plays safety for the Broncos. He actually joined us from the Super Bowl. Wes and I conducted this interview very late last week, and it was a great interview about what being a community servant means, what taking your platform as an NFL star, and Justin is a star, he's an all-pro, is the responsibility that guys like him feel. Andrew Whitworth, who's been playing in the NFL since Wes was in diapers, earned the NFL Man of the Year award in 2022. He just won the Super Bowl as well as an offensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams, doing his best to protect the coveted real estate that is Matthew Stafford. And I loved his speech. This speech was beautiful. It was dynamic, and I want to share a few bullet points from this speech. Actually, you know what? I'll share those bullet points on the backside of our interview with Justin, because they're very dynamic, and it's something that I want to expound upon after. So Andrew Whitworth is your 2022 NFL Man of the Year, and Justin Simmons, safety for the Denver Broncos, is that team's nominee. Here's our conversation on the Marty Smith Podcast with Justin Simmons on behalf of Nationwide Insurance from the Super Bowl. What you're doing with your platform is beautiful. It's important, and I'm grateful for your example. Just describe for us first how you're able and willing to use your platform as an NFL player to benefit so many people.
Yeah, it's really the core of why I've started my foundation. From just a young age, I looked up to people that are like in situations and shoes similar to my own now, and I realized that kind of throughout my journey, I only got to where I am and was able to achieve the things that I've achieved so far because of people that invested into me. Coaches, teachers, my parents, other parent-like figures in my life. And so for me, knowing the power of being invested into and spoken life over, in a positive way, realizing how important that was. And so for me, it was like a no-brainer. I'm like, man, whenever I have an opportunity to kind of give back and set something up that means a lot to me, it's going to be geared just towards that. And so the Justin Simmons Foundation is really geared towards helping our youth and empowering them and educating them through any means possible.
And one way you're doing that, and I love this, man, I just read a piece about Speak Life. I'm a parent. I'm a dad of 3. I try every single day to live my life where kindness, effort, and passion are paramount and obvious in the way just that I live. And I preach it to my kids every day. And here you are funding this musical called Speak Life. Like, explain to us how that unfolded and why it was important to you to produce this anti-bullying message.
Yeah, Speak Life and Bullying the Musical is going to be, obviously I'm biased, but it's going to be the best thing, I think, for our students in schools, really, from elementary all the way to high school. It's just going to be a great message for kids to be able to lock in on the power of your words and the power of how impactful those can be, whether, they show up now or 10 years from now. How important these words and speaking life over your fellow classmates can be. And for me, moving from Virginia to South Florida, just when I was starting middle school was a tough transition for me. And I experienced a little bit of the ostracizing, the isolation. And if it wasn't for few certain individuals that I was going to school with in Florida, who knows, where I'd be, what I'd be doing, what would have happened. I'm just really thankful that, they took a step out, included me in conversation, included me in, some of the things that were going on outside of school in terms of hanging out with friends and stuff like that. And that really helped me a lot. And so I'm extremely thankful for that. And so I'm an advocate for this because I understand on a certain level, what that looks like, the isolation, the ostracizing, how impactful it can be, how empowering it can be to have someone come up to you and just say hi or include you into a game of basketball or whatever it is at recess. And so I just think this is going to be extremely important and really helpful for our students and our kids.
We're all girl dads on this call. Congrats on the newborn, Justin. How excited is your oldest about the musical initiative that has to fire her up a little bit too?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, thank you so much. And she's pumped. I always tell her like I'll be wearing the shirt, or we'll be watching like trailers or things like that. And she's 3, and I just keep telling her like, yeah, daddy's in a musical. Like kind of like the ones that you watch on Disney Plus and stuff like that. And she just like has a blast, and she just starts laughing, and she's like, and so. It's great, but I really think it's going to be something like that. That's what I'm proud of, right? Is that I'm able to, and I'm able to be able to help, like my daughter with things like that too, right? Like I'll know an avenue to kind of walk her down, and I'm being taught, the rhetoric and the language that, to use, that it's going to kind of help her. So when she is at that point in time in school, it's a kind of easy transition, so she can be that. That kid that's helping other students, with their words and things like that. That's what I'm excited
And
for.
Justin, she's growing up in an era that, obviously you're a lot younger than me, so you sort of grew up in the social media era too, but our children are definitely growing up in a different way than I did. I'm in my mid-40s, Justin. Empathy and compassion are such powerful emotions and traits. They are universal, and they are everlasting if you are vulnerable enough to use them the way that you are using them. So I wonder what people say to you that you have impacted their lives. What are those messages that people share?
Yeah, it's man, that's it's powerful. I'm really and I'm really just humbled, when people are sharing. I go to a bunch of different events and being able to speak with certain individuals, and really what I've been like just taken aback by is just like, I guess like how powerful or how outspoken our voices can be as players. And as a guy that started off in obviously my career in Denver, just trying to really earn my way, even having conversations early on and having parents come up to me and students come up to me and kids come up to me and just be like, man, I'm so thankful for you and what you're doing. And I'm like, I haven't even really done anything yet, or I feel like I haven't done anything.
Well, you're hope.
And,
you're a vision of hope for them, man. And we all need that.
And that's what's really humbling, and it's really helped me to realize, like, man, this is bigger than as much as we talk about football and how much we love it, and obviously it provides and all these things. It helps me provide to be able to do what I want, foundation wise and for charity and things like that. But I'm just like, man, this is what it's about. Having these conversations, having these one-on-ones, being able to give back. Being the hope, as you just said, and I'm just thankful that type of stuff doesn't happen without partnerships like with Speak Life, in Bullying the Musical, like having a partnership with Nationwide, being able to support me and being able to do things like that, right? Go out and speak at engagements, giving back to the community. Like, those are the partnerships that I'm thankful for, because it helps me to be able to do things like that and to be able to talk to people that I probably else wouldn't be able to talk about.
Justin, you mentioned your transition in high school, and we're big fans of high school football. on this show. I'm noticed that you have Martin County Tigers as the first team you mentioned in your Instagram bio. What was the moment in high school that told you that maybe you had a shot to turn this into a career?
Yeah, it's crazy. It was really my coaches and my parents my junior year, heading into like midway through my junior year. My coach pulling me aside and saying like, "Hey man, just so you know, obviously you've been playing great ball, but you really have a chance to kind of make something happen." And he's like, "I'm not going to say NFL, but you really got a chance to at least go play college ball somewhere and get a full scholarship," which at the time, as a high school, I don't know how important a full scholarship is. Now, I'm thankful for it after. I saw how expensive it was to go to school in Boston at Boston College, and I'm like, yeah, full scholarship was probably one of the biggest blessings of my life. But it was really in that time in my junior year of high school where, my parents sat me down, my coaches, were speaking life over me and telling me like, hey, you really have a shot to make something happen. And, you kind of got to take this thing seriously with grades and things like that.
NFL's a business, and it's a ruthless business. I wonder what it's like to be a leader of a team, of an organization like you are, and be in a transitionary moment where your leadership on the field changes. You go from Coach Fangio, and now it's going to be Coach Hackett. What has to happen to kind of turn it around there in Denver, Justin?
Well, the first thing is, us as players, we got to buy in. To Coach Hackett, and he'll have a new philosophy, he'll have a new way of doing things, and to make that transition as seamless as possible, leaders like myself have to find a way to be the voice for the team, to tell them, hey man, we got to buy in. We can't have another one year, we need to feel this out, rebuild type of mode. We got to hit the ground running and buy in. That's the first thing that has to happen, and then there has to be accountability, across the board. As a team, as a team game, and you can't buy into the narrative of, well, the defense, played great, the offense didn't, or the offense played great, the defense didn't. Special teams, this, that, and the other. It's a collective team effort. It doesn't matter what it looks like, as long as we find a way to win on Sunday. And that's going to happen through accountability. And so buying in and accountability are the two things that I think are really going to kind of flip this thing around for us, as an organization. And obviously it's my job as one of the leaders to make sure that those things are being done. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to, almost like a fresh start, but, no time for almost like a rebuild, kind of feel things out. It's all in on this year.
Justin, obviously a lot of games go on before the snap with every quarterback in the league. Which one gives you the toughest time that you immediately think of as your biggest challenge in the league so far?
Yeah, I would say, and maybe this might have been an obvious answer, but I'd go with Mahomes, and it's not necessarily for the first, after the snap. It's not necessarily those first 3 minutes that are, or the 3 seconds that are the hardest, right? It's like the next 4 seconds. It's the ability that he has to extend plays with the talent he has around him that really makes that team and those individuals dangerous. The first couple seconds of every play, I maybe could name someone else, but it's really after that makes them difficult. The extension of plays, the talent to be able to make all the throws, in or outside of the pocket, finding his receivers and tight ends down the field. That's really what makes them dangerous.
December 19th, you and the boys face Joe Burrow. He's done some pretty special things this year. What did you learn about him playing against him?
Obviously he played as his second year, got injured, halfway through, I don't know exactly the timeline, but and somewhere down the road his first year. And, game plan going into it was like, hey, we're going to kind of make him obviously figure out what we're doing, and we're going to make him play the game of like he has to take what we're giving him. And I thought he did that, the best he could. And obviously they found a way to win the game. But for me as a defensive guy, I know how hard it can be for guys with Joe Burrow's talent to be able to just like, all right, I'm going to just take what they give me, especially when you have, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, all these guys, CJ, all these guys at your disposal. Like, you just feel like you're always one play away from getting a touchdown, the big play mentality. And so that's what I was impressed with the most, is that even with all this, talent and how explosive their offense has been, no matter what the situation was, he just took what we gave him and found ways to still be effective with moving the football and things like that. And I think that was the cool, calm, and collected demeanor that I saw, and was I wouldn't say like am surprised by, but I was definitely impressed. I was definitely impressed by that.
He doesn't even look like a cat that's that young in the league. I mean, it's amazing. I can only imagine trying to play against him. Justin, what would your go-to NIL deal have been at Boston College if that all existed while you were in school?
Ooh, that's a good one. This might be bad to say, but my go-to NIL deal would have been McDonald's. Now in college, I don't even know if McDonald's is doing any of those types of things, but in college, I kind of lived off McDonald's. At that point, we didn't really have the, like the stipend checks either, that you're getting now. And so, a lot of my meals when I was hungry outside of the meals that you got with your scholarship were, like some of the dollar menu type of things. And so for me, it would have been, my ideal NIL deal would have been something like, with McDonald's. But I'm just excited for those athletes, man. I think they deserve it. I know how hard it is. And so I'm really excited for them that they're able to, benefit from those.
It's interesting you say that about your college diet. The I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall and Chad Ochocinco, I was listening to one of their episodes recently, and Brandon believes that you can't eat that crap and still perform at a high level. Chad Johnson thinks it's all genetics. I mean, what's your experience been with nutrition? Do you think you could still perform on that college diet right now?
Oh, that's tough. I'll say this. I'll say, obviously, I've changed my diet a little bit since then. But I will say, like, while I was in college and, whatever the case may be, I don't think that affected my performance, by any stretch of the imagination. And I know there's going to be numbers, and I've seen the podcast, with those guys, going to bat about that. But I honestly think is, like you said, you work hard, and you're able to do the rest depending on how hard you work, and you work it off. So that's kind of my take on it. So I was definitely a McDonald's guy, and I can only go with what I know.
I don't think Marty's had fast food in about 8 years.
Longer than that. It's been a long time. I try to take care of myself as best I can. Hey, let me tell you something, Justin. High definition ain't your friend, brother. When I stand in front of that ESPN camera every day, I'm like, damn, that's what I look like? All right. We'll get you out of here in just a second. If I was rolling through Stuart, Florida, and I stopped by Rinaldi's Deli, what am I ordering?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. You're ordering the J. Sims.
That's it. What's on it?
You're ordering the J. Sims. You got some bacon, some shredded chicken. You have your choice of mayo or ranch. You get your selection of cheese. Obviously, my suggestion is get it toasted. That's the best. And then my absolute favorite about the whole deal you get, at Rinaldi's is, you get a sandwich and a handshake. That's my favorite. You deliver the sandwich.
It's good business.
You get a handshake from my man Mike, and it's the best. A little mom and pop shop. Loved going to that place. Every lunch break I could in high school, and hey, I'm not biased by any stretch. I understand the name. You got to get the J. Sims. It's by far the best sandwich.
Rinaldi's, that's not Tom Rinaldi's. You're not going to cry when you order a sandwich there, right?
I was going to say, I don't think you're going to break out into tears as you order your sandwich, no.
Nah, you won't.
Listen, man, we are grateful for your time and your spirit and your example. It's funny that Wes mentioned Brandon Marshall. I interviewed him once a couple years ago for ESPN, and he said something to me that really resonated. His NFL career was not his purpose. It was a platform for his purpose, and that's exactly what you're doing. And it's awesome, brother. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your third nomination for Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. Nationwide picked a good one. We appreciate you.
Man, thank you guys so much for having me. It was really an honor and a pleasure to be on here with you, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you again. Hopefully we get to do it again soon.
I love the message, Wes. I love this is not my purpose. This is a platform for my purpose, which, of course, I stole from Brandon Marshall, and that Justin Simmons lives in his life every single day. I loved his example. I loved the opportunity to fellowship with him and took so much away that I'll incorporate into my own life. All it does is prove what I try to be. Let kindness be my compass.
Same. I think he's definitely the nicest guest we've ever had on.
No doubt. He is a very kind man, and the time that he spends in that greater Denver community with his foundation, everything he does there is brilliant and inspirational, and the community in Denver, Colorado, and its surrounding areas benefit from him. Love his spirit, love his example, and I'm grateful for it. And he's not alone. All 32 of the men that were nominated for that award deserve praise too. And before we get to the winner, Andrew Whitworth from the LA Rams, I just want to say thank you to Nationwide. They have provided me with NFL Man of the Year nominees for 4 or 5 years now, I think. We've interviewed Cam Newton. We've interviewed Von Miller. The year that he won the MVP of the Super Bowl, I think, we interviewed him on behalf of Nationwide Insurance. And Nationwide does a great job with this program. They do a great job championing the spirits of the NFL that are so deeply impacting their communities, not only on the field as all-world players, but also off the field as all-world human beings. So thank you to Nationwide for your support of NFL Man of the Year and for always supporting my podcast. They have offered us. Travis can shoot me a note here on my phone. I want to say 4 or 5 years we've been interviewing the NFL Man of the Year nominee from some franchise in the NFL. And as I said earlier, before we got to Justin West, Andrew Whitworth is the NFL Man of the Year. And his speech really moved me. And I just want to share some segments, some excerpts from that. Community service starts in our homes. It's important for our kids to learn from mom and dad what it means to try, what it means to fail, and what it means to regroup and learn from the process. That's the first thing he said. And, man, I was pumping my fist in the air. Yeah. I thought that was beautifully stated.
Yeah. I mean, he's just the real deal. You can't say things like that unless you rehearse them in the mirror every day. And I know he doesn't have time to do that. So just being an authentically good guy in its own way was very inspirational and fired me up too.
And the impact, I love the story. The story that Whit told it moved me so much. Like, this award is about success on the field. These are Andrew Whitworth's words during his acceptance speech. This award is about success on the field. Not only about success on the field, but how you live your life off it. Social media has been great to bring awareness, but we need action. Whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, the people who come to see us play, buy our jerseys, they're why we get to play. We get to play a kid's game and make a lot of money doing it because of their support. We have to give back. It can be as simple as making a kid smile, visiting their school, telling them you love them and that you believe in them. It's called an investment. Time, finances, your voice. It doesn't matter which. We just have to keep investing in each other. Let your heart lead you. This was the story right here. He told a story about they had just played the Detroit Lions this season. And a young player came sprinting across the football field after the game to acknowledge Whit. And this guy's running at him, and he's like, "Holy shit! Have I been playing that long that this guy's going to come over here and tell me?" It was Derek Barnes. Derek walks up to Whit, runs up to Whit, and says, "When you were a younger player in Cincinnati, you came to the Boys and Girls Club, and you sat with me and you talked about life, and you cared about me as a person, and that meant the world to me." You never know, guys, when that moment might present itself. The key is to be available when it does. That speech and that example and that spirit moved the hell out of me. So thank you to Andrew Whitworth. Whit, you are a beacon in your community. You're a light in the world. All 32 of y'all are. Thank you so much for sharing your light, for Nationwide Insurance, for sharing that light, and making us better with that example. Grateful.
Yep.
Not only did we have the opportunity to spend time with Justin Simmons, we also had the opportunity, Wes and I did, to chat just a few moments ago with someone we believe is going to be a big star in country music. Her name is Ashley Cooke. She is about to go on tour, starting here in just a couple of days with Cole Swindell. She sings like a bird, man, and her path to this moment, I was going to say it's unorthodox, but you'll hear her say maybe it's not as unorthodox as it used to be. I look forward to hearing y'all's feedback on this. Here is Ashley Cooke on the Marty Smith Podcast here at Outsider. Hi, Ashley.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Man, we're paying rent, girl. How you doing?
Doing so good. It's finally beautiful in Nashville, so.
Well, I live in Charlotte, and Wes lived in Athens, Georgia, basically. So we kind of have similar climates to what you have there in Nashville.
That's amazing.
We are grateful for the sunshine, too. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. I was in Arizona yesterday, the day before. I feel like all the days are blending together at this point. But I thought it was going to be like 75 and sunny, and it was like 30 and snowing.
Brutal.
So getting back here, I was like, thank God for the sun. I know.
That is brutal. You didn't go to the golf tournament out there, did you?
I didn't. I heard that was going on, though. I played a college show at NAU. I think it's Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. So,
do you know what their mascot is?
Do you?
I think it's a wolf.
Oh, no, I'm going to look it up.
Is it?
No, Nevada is the wolf pack. It's University of Nevada that's the wolf pack.
A wolf pack.
Okay.
What is it?
Y'all are going to love this. Louis the Lumberjack. This dude looks like an X-Men character. He's running right at you with a hatchet in his hand.
Are we not rolling? We're rolling, right, Travis? Send me a text. Good. Yeah, I want every damn bit of that on the podcast. That's great.
It was funny though, because usually in my set we do like a chug challenge, because we cover Luke Combs' song "Beer Never Broke My Heart," and so usually we bring some people up to do like a shotgun challenge, but it was a college show, and so I asked the people, I was like, "Hey, can I do this here?" And they were like, "That's gonna be a no for me, dog." I was like, "Okay." I was like,
Oh.
So how often do you win the shotgun challenge? I mean, obviously, if you do it all the time, you're pretty good at it.
I don't do it. I bring two people from the crowd up to do it against each other.
Come on, Ashley. We have to revamp your show. We got to change this up.
We got to change it up. I gotta take one for the team and try it, but I can't. I'm so bad at shotgunning, so I just
it's a talent. There, Kyle Larson is the NASCAR driver who won the championship last year in NASCAR, and his wife Caitlin, she shotguns a beer in Victory Lane every time he wins, and she's this tiny little petite lady, and she houses that thing in milliseconds. She needs to teach courses at Northern Arizona, and maybe she should come to your show, and you could take her TED Talk on how to shotgun cold beer.
Honestly,
just plant her in the crowd and have her kick everybody's ass unsuspectingly.
Genius. Absolute genius.
So as we tape this conversation, young lady, it is Valentine's Day. What is your, I don't know if you have a significant other, but if you don't, if you have ever, What is your Valentine's Day philosophy? Like, is this a very important holiday for you, or is this kind of like a,
I wouldn't say it's like insanely important to me. Maybe this is super cheesy, but I think that like if you're seeing somebody that you should treat every day like it's Valentine's Day, I feel like you should just get flowers because why not? Like I'd get flowers for somebody that I'm seeing just because why not, you know? So I don't know. That's my philosophy, but it's still fun to go out and do the dinner and do the drinks and get the flowers and the whole thing. But I don't know. I mean, it's a cool day. I just think that most days should be celebrated if you're dating somebody. So
I just got done saying that a matter of minutes ago.
just said that.
My wife, Lainey, and I have been married for 22 years.
Aww.
And that is exactly how we operate. Well said, young lady.
20
Wesley?
years. I mean, you're doing something right, so.
Let me tell you, guys, the one Valentine's Day where she says, I don't know if I want flowers
get 'em.
this year.
Yeah.
Get them anyway.
You better get them.
You better get them anyway. And get the chocolates because I said over the weekend, behind every wife, there is a husband waiting to eat the chocolates she doesn't like on Valentine's Day. And luckily for me, my wife doesn't like the truffles, which I think that's the best thing in the box.
I agree.
So always get the chocolates because you're gonna get
I
the
agree.
leftovers.
From a
What kind of, what,
I say I don't want the flowers. I still want the flowers. So
yep, there you go. Gentlemen, you heard it. You heard Ashley say it. Make sure that you're buying her but just bring them to her show. Practice chugging cold beer and bring this young lady flowers to the show. That could probably end up being the weirdest thing you've ever experienced in your life, but nonetheless, here we are. What kind of Jeep you got?
I got it's a 2014 black lifted Jeep Wrangler.
Like you're hardcore Jeep, right?
Hardcore.
Nice.
Like somebody asked
Do
me
you do this whole thing right here, like when you're driving down the road and see another Jeep person?
for sure. Have you heard of the ducking thing?
No, I've not. What is that?
Oh my gosh. Y'all don't have Jeeps?
I do. My wife is a
No.
Jeep person, and she does this thing too, but I don't know about ducking. What's that?
Do you have a Wrangler or is it like a Cherokee?
Wrangler.
Interesting. So she's never been ducked. You don't know what that is?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll ask her.
Ducking, now you'll know if this happens to you because it freaked me out when it happened to me for the first time. Some people, Jeep drivers, put like rubber duckies on Jeeps.
Oh, I've seen that.
Like it's called ducking. And so I don't really know why it happens or like what the purpose of the rubber ducky is. But duck, I don't know. But they put a duck on your car and you get ducked. It's part of like the Jeep culture thing. I don't know. It's just a thing.
Oh, so this is like
I didn't realize Jeep had this underground.
bro. They
thing going on.
they
This is
have a
fascinating.
whole subculture going on with especially Jeep Wranglers. Like Jeep Wranglers are like, okay, these are your hardcore Jeep people. They got this weird thing they do when you pass one. You do this thing right here.
The Jeep.
And if you don't, you're like snobby or you're clueless, one of the two.
Also, there's etiquette
Right.
on like who does it first. So like if this is so stupid, I don't know why I know this, but if your Jeep is like lifted and has like aftermarket stuff on it, then you're supposed to initiate the Jeep wave first when it's compared to somebody that just has like a stock.
This sounds
Actually,
too complicated.
Why? Why? If you have aftermarket stuff, does that mean that you're more invested
What are all
in your
these
Wrangler
rules?
than the guy who has the stock shit?
I think so. I feel like Jeep people are going to come after me for saying this, but I really think that's like a thing.
We don't want to lose the Jeep audience.
Yeah, no,
I'll
that's
tell
our
you that.
people.
So
We do not want to lose the Jeep audience. Well, let's jump into your amazing budding career. From everything that I've learned as I've studied for this, it seems like you didn't grow up around a whole lot of country music based on where you grew up. So at what point did you know you had to do this?
Man, it's always a hard question because I've been in music since I was 11 years old. I lived in California for a little while in my life, and I was surrounded by the entertainment industry, and so I kind of just got into it at a young age. But country music specifically, my parents were never into it. They always respected it, but it wasn't like their biggest thing. And I just started writing songs when I was younger, and I started to notice that country music has such a storyteller environment in it that I just naturally kind of fell into the country music world and fell in love with the songwriting and the storytelling of that. So around 11 is when I started. I think I decided to really take this up as a career full-time, nothing else, when I was senior in college. So like 21 years old. Yeah.
wow. What was the first song that you wrote about?
Like my
What did
very,
you
very
write
first
about?
song.
Weren't you
Yeah, I
like
was
11?
11
Is
when
that
I
what
wrote
you
my
said?
first song. I think it was called Cheerios. This is like the dumbest thing
Wow.
ever. But it was called like, Cheerios, and the hook was like, be a Fruit Loop in the world of Cheerios or something. I don't know. It was so stupid.
That's pretty
I
good,
mean, that's
actually.
actually real.
I love
A lot of
cereal.
depth there
I
for an
love breakfast
11-year-old.
Oh, well.
My Lord.
Yeah, that was my first song.
So when you're at Belmont and you win this music, I guess it's a contest. What is it?
Yes.
Country Showcase.
Country Showcase. It was
And some other stars have won this deal. What's the impact of having that title?
at Belmont. It's a huge deal. So for those of our listening that don't know what that is, it's called the Country Showcase. It's a thing that Belmont University here in Nashville does, and like people like Brad Paisley and Florida Georgia Line, they've all won it when they went to Belmont. And basically, it's like 2,000 to 3,000 people in our basketball arena, and it's all student run, and it's all students that compete in it. And if you win, it's kind of like the panel of judges is, you know, professionals from all over Nashville. So agents and managers and label executives and all these people. And so I applied for it kind of on a whim. I was a communications and marketing major, so nothing to do with music at all. I applied for it on a whim, got in, ended up winning the competition. And my now agent was a judge on the panel and was like, hey, I think you owe it to yourself to give this a real shot for at least a year and just see what happens. So it's pretty cool.
It's really cool. And that's it's a grain of sand town. It's so hard to get traction in that town. There's insanely talented and insanely beautiful people everywhere you look. Mm-hmm. Great writers, great vocalists all over the place. What's the challenge of cutting through in that town?
I mean, it's always going to be a challenge. You're right. I think, you know, Nashville is home to the best of the best songwriters and artists. I think for me personally, and I can only speak to myself, if you stay true to what you want to say and genuinely make art that you think is dope, it'll cut through. Because you can't do somebody else better than they can, and they can't do you better than you can. So it's one of those things that if you're competitive, you're never really going to win. Because you have to just be true to yourself and do what you think is dope, and hopefully somebody else will think it's dope too, but that's all you really can do. I think personally for me, social media was a really big way to cut through, which was a kind of a weird way to do it, because typically in Nashville, as a new artist, to cut through, you play shows, you really kind of build a buzz in town, you get a label deal, and then you kind of spread that outside of Nashville. I kind of went outside of Nashville first and brought that buzz to Nashville through social media. So it was kind of a different way of cutting through. But there's, so many different ways. Just be true to who you are and make dope art, and that's all you really can do.
Yeah, I've seen how active you are on social media, and in a way, I almost wonder, are you adding more noise to a lot of competition? But in a way, I mean, I think that's one of the best things about social media. Marty and I talk all the time about how destructive it can be in a lot of ways, but sometimes, though, it helps you recognize the real talent that's out there.
I think it took Nashville a minute to really get on board with that, because there just was this very traditional way of breaking in this industry, and it was the social media world wasn't really a part of that in the beginning. And I think TikTok and the pandemic and finding artists via social media kind of shook up the town a little bit, which was really awesome to see. And now you see so many more people that weren't in Nashville, and now they are because of social media and are getting buzz. So it's cool. It's just changing the industry a little bit in a really beautiful way.
Which leads us to our next question, which actually came by way of my good friend and your soon-to-be starting this weekend touring mate, the great Georgian philosopher Cole Swindell. I said, all right, what should I ask Ashley? And he goes, how's she so damn good at TikTok? How do I get that damn good at TikTok? So my question is, what's the impact of that medium on young artists? Like if you figure that thing out, and that's what happened to you.
Yep. It can change your life. Cole is so funny because he's always like, help me do this TikTok thing? Honestly, for me personally, I never expected TikTok to be something that would work for me. And honestly, even to this day, it's a continual gamble, right? Because there's no guarantee that a post is going to do well, whether you have, 5 million followers or not. It's all For You page based. So it's all based off video by video by video. So, I mean, I downloaded it and started posting videos completely on a whim, having no expectations at all. And next thing you know, I got 2 million views on my first ever video posted. So it just kind of is a random thing that happens. You got to learn the platform, learn the app, learn what works for you, learn what people like to see, how quickly you have to say something in the first couple seconds, try new things constantly. It's a continual learning process, which I think is really exciting.
And the pandemic impacted all of us in myriad, countless different ways. All of us had our own context as to what that impact was. If there is no pandemic and no quarantine, how likely is it that you're here in this moment? Because as I think COVID is a major factor on why you even started it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'd like to think that I would have gotten on TikTok and gotten on Instagram and, I was on Instagram, but really kind of focused on that more. But I don't know. I mean, I think the product of being locked in a house and boredom led to going live on TikTok every night and posting videos. So the question and the answer is I don't know. I don't know what would have happened.
We talk a lot about Yellowstone around here, and the soundtrack on Yellowstone each and every week is like tops. What's the song that's stood out to you through the series, and do you think you could eventually find yourself on the show with one of your tracks?
Oh, that'd be an absolute dream. I'm obsessed with that show. Actually, one of my friends, Lainey Wilson, I'm pretty sure one of her songs, was it Dirty Looks? Dirty Looks or Things a Man Ought to Know. One of the two was on the show, and I love that. I think she's so talented, and that was such a cool song to see on that show. There's a song I have in my up and coming releases I haven't told anybody about yet, but it's kind of a more like Western sounding song, and I really hope that song can get played someday. It'd be dope.
Okay.
Wes will call Taylor Sheridan for you and make sure that we get that well placed. I love Sunday morning, kind of Saturday night, because I love the message. And I know you didn't write it, all right? I know this is one of the tracks that you cut that you didn't write. But it's a I have to return to my roots to reset my soul kind of vibe is what that song is. Why did that message matter to you?
It's a great question. I think when I first heard that song, because I didn't write it, it was Matt Roy and Craig Wiseman that wrote that song. To me, hearing that song sonically, it really brought me back to the kind of country that I fell in love with in the beginning. Like that kind of FGL, Jason Aldean, kind of like big, drum smash kind of stuff. It just felt like a really cool, feel good, windows down, driving to see the sunset kind of vibe. So sonically, it really made me feel like the music I fell in love with in the beginning. Lyrically, I just love how it incorporates faith without being a Christian song or talking about God deliberately in it. And it just kind of was a way for me to talk about, having to get back to my roots, get back to faith and kind of touch on that while also being relatable, and it doesn't have to be like a preachy sounding song. I just loved the whole song and everything that it stood for in general, and I'm glad I got to cut it.
We were discussing that same dynamic recently with Michael Hardy, because You Give Heaven Some Hell is a very similar type of idea, and when you have a message of faith that cuts through in a way that you have to really think about it to get it, like you got to listen. And then when you listen, that light bulb goes on and you go, oh, okay, I get it. I see where we are with this. And I just thought that song was really well done. And you're right, not only is it well written, but sonically it's just from the jump, the first bar, you go, oh, okay, yeah, this is it.
Thank you so much.
So congratulations. That's a really
Thank you.
good
That
one.
means a lot. I love that Hardy song too. I think that's what I'm saying. Just about creating dope art, like he probably didn't write that with the intention of talking about faith. It's just the cool way to say it, and it's what he felt in that moment, and that was a cool part.
Yeah. And when they discuss raising your hand, like that's when when you listen to the song, and I was there when you raised your hand, if you're a person of faith, you know what that is. And I just thought that was a really interesting way to share that message in a song like that. You talk about making dope art and you're gonna be okay. You're going to be okay in your soul because it's what you are. But it's way easier to say than do in that town. A lot of artists want to do that, but for whatever reason, the machine disallows it. What's the challenge of doing what you want?
I mean, the obvious challenge is continuously trying to do what you think somebody's going to want to sign you for. You think what somebody's going to want to hear from you. It's a continual challenge. I mean, you know, this town, again, is full of so many talented people. But I really think, again, I can only speak to what worked for me. And what worked for me is to just be completely beyond honest and true to what I think is cool. And never once did I put on the cap of competition of, well, what's she doing? What's he doing? How can I sound like that? How can I do that? I'm like, no, what do I hear on the radio that just rocks me to my core that I'm like, that's so cool? And growing up for me, that was like Ed Sheeran and FGL and stuff like that. And like, I was thinking back to what about that rocked me? What about that made me want to do that? What about that made me have full body chills during their performance? I need to chase that and do what I think is dope in that for myself. So it wasn't like, well, this label's signing people that seems to be like this. And this, you know, this type of person seems to be working. I need to embody that. It was like, no, what does Ashley think is cool? And how do I do that better? You know? So.
Yeah. Marty and I are storytellers. And yeah, I mean, you want to make things that you would want to listen to. I want to write things that I would want to read.
Exactly.
You know?
That's all you can do. And that's one of the best parts about this town too. And you were saying with Give Heaven Some Hell with the hand raising thing too, like we're all just chasing really cool, unique ways to say the most universal things. And that's what songwriting is. It's being able to say something differently.
Say something differently with brilliant turns on phrases and vulnerable, relatable, passionate, all of it. And you're well on your way. And it's funny, you talking about, I loved what you just said about, I'm not in the comparison game. I love the adage, comparison is the thief of joy, because that is fact.
Yep.
And we are so grateful for your time. We are so grateful for you taking a minute. Look, take care of Cole out there. Heaven knows that boy needs it. And y'all have a blast. Have a blast.
So much, guys. Y'all are so sweet. So great talking to you.
Wesley, other than random Jeep symbols, what'd you take away?
So I'm kicking myself because I really wanted to ask her why there isn't a steakhouse on the campus of Belmont called Belmont Steaks. And I think we need to get into that. That could be Outsider's next endeavor. No, but seriously,
Maybe.
she was phenomenal, man.
She was phenomenal, and I love her spirit. I love how excited she was, young and vibrant. And listen, y'all go check. I mean, she's blowing up. If you have Spotify, if you have any
She's not going to have
service,
time to talk to us in a couple months.
No, yeah, she's going to be way too big a deal, man, to be talking to us. And can't wait for y'all to hear. Let us know. Again, as I said earlier, go rate, review, and follow. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you guys. We love your feedback. We're starting to post on Outsider social media channels some of those testimonies because they matter to us. And quite frankly, we want y'all to listen. We want y'all to pay attention and listen because we're trying to do something different here. There's a trillion podcasts. We're trying to be one that inspires you. And the fact that we're starting to get all this feedback of inspiration, I'm hearing from my buddies. Starting to hear from my buddies how
my neighbor Eric,
look,
saw him out at Valentine's dinner with his wife. I took my wife and our daughter out and learned that he's a listener. Said, love what y'all are doing. I mean, the word of mouth from real people means a ton too.
It's the ultimate endorsement is what it is. If y'all go tell your buddies, hey man, this thing, it's funny, it's engaging, and these two guys are obviously good old boys who grew up like we did. Tell your buddies because it matters, and we're really grateful. Let me see if I can learn how to use the English language. One other thing that we're doing here at Outsider, we got a brand new store, and we have an array of hats. We got camo. We got tons with the U.S. flag motif on them. We have a couple that just have our branding right here on one side of the forehead. They're all amazing. We're selling them fast, so y'all better get there. go to shop.outsider.com. That's shop.outsider.com and get your lid. Now everybody wants a Jay Cutler autographed edition. I don't know if Cutler's going to sit around and sign a bunch of those, but I've seen a couple of people ask if he would do so. So, Jay, you're on the clock. Go get your hat, man. I'm wearing them on Marty and McGee every Saturday on the SEC Network, so you can see it there. Look at my social channels. Look at Wes's social channels. Certainly check out @Outsider on Twitter and @Outsider IG on Instagram. We got a lot of cool stuff up there. A lot of Yellowstone comment, a lot of sports content, a lot of store content, and we got so much stuff coming. We got stuff coming I can't wait to talk to y'all about. We got stuff coming I can't wait to use while we're doing this podcast. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. And we're heading to Daytona. Wesley, we're heading to the beach,
I know,
man.
I'm bringing my boogie board, baby. I'm not even going to work.
Make sure you bring your boogie board. Make sure you bring some SPF. You bring some of that NOAD SPF 70 for your pale ass. And
you're the pale
We'll get
one.
down there at the beach. Oh, dude, I'll have on SPF 1000. Trust me. Every time I go down there, I do that. And can't wait to get there, man. We have, dude. So on Friday, we are
you're
taping
going, let us know.
our
Please tell
podcast.
us.
Yeah, let us know if y'all coming to Daytona. We're taping the Marty Smith podcast from the fan deck above the Cup Garage at Daytona. Cannot wait. We have so many driver guests going to be on that thing. We got Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott. We have Martin Truex, Corey LaJoie's joining us. Bubba Wallace is joining us. I mean, it's a cast of thousands. And a who's who in the NASCAR Cup Series. NASCAR President Steve Phelps and Vice President Ben Kennedy, who was the mastermind behind the Clash at the Coliseum. They're scheduled to join us. It's going to be a big round-robin extravaganza. Kyle Busch is coming on. Kurt Busch is coming on. We got champions upon champions upon champions. Y'all are going to love that one, and I can't wait. And then I'm going to be hanging around for a couple days after. I'll also be covering the Daytona 500 for ESPN. Marty and McGee will be live from Daytona on Saturday morning. I will be doing live shots all morning long from the racetrack for Sports Center, 7 to 1, all day long. We'll be doing live shots. Can't wait to get there. I love the Daytona 500. It's one of the premier sporting events. To me, it's one of the big five that transcends its sport and all of sport. Maybe we'll discuss that while we're down there, Wesley. Thank y'all. We'll have a great time. We'll drink a few cold beers, and we'll have a great time. Thank y'all. Thank you to our law enforcement officials all over the country working hard to keep our community safe, fire, and rescue. We appreciate y'all. I still, after a month, have a hell of a story to tell about those ladies and gentlemen. We'll share that at some point. And thank you to the United States military. We are so grateful for your sacrifice. We are free. Nothing is more valuable than freedom. Thank y'all. Have an amazing week. Can't wait to see y'all down at the beach. This is the Marty Smith Podcast at Outsider. Peace.